This weekend in Melee, we've got some of the best in the world fighting it out at Dreamhack Atlanta. The main stream for the event is twitch.tv/DreamhackSmash. According to the stream schedule, the only portion of the bracket that will be streamed on Saturday is top 24 to top 8, which is set to be going on from 4 PM Eastern Standard to 6 PM Eastern Standard. Then on Sunday, Melee top 8 starts bright and early at 11 Eastern and will run until completion. I gotta speak to a handful of the players who are going to be in attendance at Dreamhack, but before we jump into those interviews, let's briefly talk about Mutaking. Mutaking being at Dreamhack will come as a big surprise to many, as he previously stated that he was done competing in Melee for the year. But he will be on the ballot for this year's top 100, so that means this tournament will essentially count for a fourth of his resume due to lack of attendance. I'm not going to rehash the previous discussion on if Mutaking should be ranked, but if you're interested, click the card in the top right hand corner. His projected path to victory's #1 seed is Billy Bo Peep, Magi, Nun, and S2J. Mutaking and Nun went to Game 5 at EGLX this year, and S2J famously knocked Mutaking out of Shine 2017, so both of these matches are a cause for concern for the King. So keep your eyes out to see what Jason shows up at Dreamhack. And speaking of those dangerous Falcons, I reached out to S2J to ask him how he feels about his ability to perform at the event. Johnny is the #2 seed at the event and is coming off a win last weekend at Genesis Black. I asked him what he thought about his projected path of Cobalt, Face Roll, and Mutaking. S2J, being known to be a man of few words, responded bluntly by saying all three of those matchups are tough. He lost his sole set against Mutaking in 2018, sits at 4-3 against Face Roll for the year, and Cobalt is one of the best of the world in the Fox Falcon matchup. I asked him, focusing on that last match, if Cobalt's experience against Gatsu would matter against him, despite the fact that S2J and Gatsu have different playstyles. S2J responded that he knows Cobalt is good in the matchup, and he doesn't think that it really matters if Gatsu and him play differently. The experience in that matchup that Cobalt has is still immensely valuable. So it looks like S2J is looking to make his gameplay speak for himself this weekend, and I'm excited to see how that manifests, especially against Mutaking. A late addition to this video, but I also got to speak briefly to Spark, the 5th seed, about Dreamhack. Spark is projected to face off with the recently slumping Hug, so I asked about how he feels about playing against Hugo in particular, and on the Sheik-Samus matchup. For Hugo, he said he beat him 3-1 when they last played at Even Bigger Bulk, and he recently reviewed the VOD of him versus Morse Code Samus at House of Pain during a lesson with Drug Fox, so he's coming into this match much stronger than before. As for Samus as a whole, Spark sees the matchup as 60-40 in Sheik's favor as long as you, in his words, follow certain rules for the matchup that will keep it in your favor. As for his goals for this event, Spark says he's been pretty swamped with school lately, so he knows he's not going to be able to play to his full potential. But he's still looking to apply the strategies for certain matchups that he's been working on with Sammy in tournament play. He highlights Fox, Samus, Sheik, Marth, and Falcon as matchups he's been actively working on in the last couple of lessons. So be on the lookout at Dreamhack for a new and improved Spark, who keeps on finding new ways to get better with each passing event. Continuing down to the 8th seed, I also got a chance to speak to Magi. I first asked her about how she feels in the Falco-Marth matchup, as she's projected to face off with both Mutaking and Calvar this weekend. She says that she's a fan of the matchup and comfortable in it because it's one Magi has been playing for a long time. Magi did add that she's down 0-2 on Calvar this year and hasn't had the shot to face off with Mutaking in her career, so she wouldn't be surprised if either of them have a hand in ending her run at Dreamhack. Magi's goal for the weekend is at the very least to maintain her seed and make top 8 at the tournament. She's especially trying to perform well here in particular because last year's Dreamhack Atlanta was the first time in Magi's career that she ever drowned in round 1 pools. But as previously discussed, she's got a tough bracket that also includes Wally and his Peach, who we'll talk to a little bit later. Magi is particularly concerned about Wally, as she says that she lost a money match to him at SmashCon. But she made it very clear that even though it may seem like a tough road ahead at Dreamhack, that she, in her words, is going to try her ass off. I finished off my conversation with the 48th ranked Falco by asking her to synthesize her 2019 season of Melee into a few words, and she said, life-changing. She explained this further by saying, and I quote, "I wish I could go back and tell my younger self what kinds of things I've been able to accomplish. I don't really think I'd believe myself, honestly." She continued, "I can honestly say this has been the best year of my life, and it's all thanks to Melee." So be on the lookout for Magi to add one last quality performance to her breakout season. Now jumping down much deeper into the seeding is Billy Bo Peep, the 16th seed of the event, who you might not be as familiar with. Billy is a Fox main from SoCal who peaked at 15th on that PR before moving to Texas to cement himself as the second best player in Central Texas behind Bananas. Billy is also another one of those new era of talented players that are younger than the game itself, with Billy only being 17 but having played the game competitively for 5 years now. As for Billy Bo Peep's goals for the weekend, he says that he would love to win the event, but he knows that there's a pretty minuscule chance of that coming to fruition. So instead, his more realistic goal is to get top 8 at Dreamhack Atlanta. His path to getting there is projected to have him run through Mutaking's Marth on winner's side, or Calvar's Marth and Kobal's Fox on loser's side. I ended my conversation with Billy by asking about this year's rankings. He says he for sure cares about making it, not for the skill comparison aspect, but more for the boost in recognition, which I think is a fantastic mindset to have about the MPGR. As for where he thinks he'll end up, Billy says as of now he's thinking high 60s or low 70s, but with a good run at Dreamhack, he thinks he could potentially lock down a seat in the mid to low 60s. So be on the lookout for this talented Fox main to go on a run this weekend in Atlanta. The 24th seed and Mario main, A-Rookie, was the second to last player I spoke to. There's so few Mario mains out there, so I had to ask him, what's kept you with the character for so long when players like Duck and Nintendo are jumping ship to higher tiers? Rookie's reasoning was, and I quote, "I stick with Mario because I believe I can win any matchup and beat any player if I put in the work and outsmart my opponent. I want people to know it's possible to use an average character and do amazing things with them. I stick with Mario because my philosophy is, if I can touch you, I can kill you." Circling back to the event itself, A-Rookie's goal is to pick up enough wins at the tournament to sneak his way back onto the top 100 for the year. For those who haven't been keeping a close eye on Mario's champion this year, he's attended a few larger events. He beat Sora before losing to Smash Daddy and Squid at Genesis 6. He made it into bracket at CEO but was eliminated by Linkmane Kuya and Zio. And most recently at Shine, he picked up a win over Calvar while losing to Swedish and Lint. So needless to say, he's going to have to put on a hell of a performance at Dreamhack to finish this year as a top 100 player. And honestly, I think he has a chance of doing it. His projected path to run through winners would be picking up another Calvar win, pulling a huge upset over Magi, and then most likely being knocked into losers by Mutaking. If Calvar is able to shake off his underwhelming showing at Mamam, and even their head-to-head for the year, the Mario's projected road is Dusk, Wally's Peach, King Momo, Ryan Ford, and Spark in losers to make top 8. So again, maybe doable, but quite a tall task. And even if this all doesn't come to fruition for A-Rookie at Dreamhack, he's hopeful for next year's prospects, when he'll hopefully have more time to attend more events if his work schedule slows down. And the 25th seed right behind A-Rookie is Wally, the last player in attendance at Dreamhack that I got to speak with. The New Jersey Peach main attended his first local about 2 years ago, knowing the basics of competitive Melee and prepping for the event on an HD TV. Wally ended up going 0-2 at this local, and in his disappointment, he decided to download Netplay and start grinding against players there as well. We then jump ahead 6 months later to the Scarlet Classic 4, Wally's first ever event since going 0-2 at that local. Here, Wally made a huge upset over the number 2 seed in his pool, and from there, he was hooked on competitive Melee. He started traveling more and more after getting better performances at locals, which brings us here to Atlanta. Wally says that his goal for the event is to finally pick up his first top 100 win. He's been able to take sets off of many talented players, but has never beaten someone currently ranked globally. Other than that, Wally says that he just wants to play his best and is looking forward to playing doubles with Billy Bo Peep as well. I lastly wanted to get a Peach main's perspective on the sharp decline we've seen in top Peach in the wake of Armada's retirement. Wally says that this decline was imminent as soon as Armada left the scene. But he also points out that many of the lower end top 100 Peach mains, like Polish, Ryobeat, Mog, and Aura, have improved immensely over the last year. Wally continued by saying that he thinks Peach is underdeveloped and a bit underrated as a character, but he has high hopes that he and the tight-knit group of Peach mains will be able to prove to the world just how good the princess is in Melee. So be on the lookout for Wally to hopefully pick up his first top 100 win this weekend. And that about does it for this video. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to take home the gold this weekend at Dreamhack Atlanta, as well as the matches you're most excited to see. Also, if you liked any of the players you got to hear from today, go follow them on Twitter so you can support them directly. And if you enjoy content pieces like this, consider subscribing to the channel and supporting on Patreon or by subscribing to me over on twitch.tv/SaveAsUntitled, where I stream weekly, both linked down in the description. And that about does it for me. I've been SaveAsUntitled, and I will see you guys next time.